Welcome to On the Chain.
I want to get in this Chris Larsen, so we're gonna let's kind of mini workshop this.
Chris Larsen.
Let's mini workshop this because this whole thing is it's just chock full of nuts right here. There's so much going on.
There was so much in this, and then the whole tweet storm that he put out there with it in response to Warren Davidson, and I think Warren Davidson's response is good, but let's see what he has to say here, because as we get into his tweets, you start seeing a narrative that I think most people weren't expecting, and most people probably didn't read all the way through everything that he said.
Good point.
And then he tried to back out of it. And, there's some things here, Chip, that let's workshop it. Let's go.
Jeff, I'm going to give my 2 cents. If I'm a billionaire, I'm just disappearing. I'm just saying, right? I'd rather be anonymous than get on Twitter and make a fool of myself. I do that when I'm not a millionaire. I don't have to, but if I'm like super mega rich, I just disappear, right? If I'm Elon Musk, I don't need to start a new platform for social media because I've already got, I got Starlink, I've got, SpaceX, I've got Tesla. I don't need to be doing more things unless I'm really working towards.
So you saying, Chip, hypothetically, if you were at the Oscars and you were invited up to get an award and the MC was presenting, you wouldn't walk up and smack him in the face?
No, I'd throat punch him first. Because that's like a better look right after. But anyway, so last year, by the way, this is Chris Larsen tweet storm. Last year, I published an op-ed calling for Bitcoin to consider to move away from proof of work to a low energy validation method. Today, I'd like to share an update on how my thinking has evolved on this front.
Now, why is everybody so worried about Bitcoin?
I don't know, Jeff.
Energy method.
I'm not. I
don't
care.
Hear Bitcoin? Do you hear any of the Bitcoiners out there and the miners saying, you know what? I really wish we had lower energy consumption. Now, in terms of the cost of mining, as energy costs go up and Bitcoin mining potentially goes down or the value fluctuate, I could see people get upset with energy cost and they'll figure it out. But overall, though, why is Larsen so concerned about it?
Well, Jeff, I think we kind of know where that's going, but let's just zoom a little bit here. He says, well, I still can't believe moving to a low energy consensus mechanism is the most climate friendly long-term solution. I recognize it's no easy feat. This is when you realize, why am I tweet storming anyway? What's the point? Okay.
Why did he even get into this part of it? So he wants to move to low energy because it's the most climate friendly long-term solution. But is it really?
No.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. Like I said, who's using the excess energy now? Even with Bitcoin mining, there's excess energy that's being produced. Is anybody worried about it? Not a soul, no. Jeff. Not one person. Today, today the U.S. hosts 40% of the hash rate. Climate conscious miners like these names, Gryphon Mining and Argo Blockchain and Riot Blockchain, strive to use 100% renewables and be responsible actors. Responsible to who? Why are they more responsible?
Why is he using that word? Why does he have to bring in responsible actors? Why does he have to go to green leftist narrative?
He's trying to explain that everybody else is out of sync, Jeff. That's the whole point.
They're out of sync and
they don't know any better.
Touch.
But the good actors, these are the people that we like because they're doing renewables. Hey, terrific. Right. I think that's fantastic.
They're striving to use 100% renewables. Does that mean that they are? Now, is it going to be too costly? They shut down the power grids, for overload. Now, what does this mean? Are they successful, not successful? Are they trying to do something different? And what is the renewable energy they're using? Are they using solar?
Well, this is problematic.
Huge ass wind turbines that cause problems.
They use 100% carbon-free energy. I don't know what that means.
Or which energy?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Then Argo Blockchain, they use the world's most profitable cryptocurrencies. I don't know what that means. Riot Blockchain, only mining company supporting the Bitcoin blockchain through industrial scale mining in U.S.
That's cool.
All right.
Didn't say anything. They're not talking about themselves being responsible actors or using 100% renewables in their Twitter.
Here it is right here. So they shut off the power when the grids are overloaded. I applaud their efforts. Okay. On the other hand, plenty of miners are repurposing old coal and gas plants and not being responsible stewards of the amount of power they're increasingly using, jacking up energy bills for residents, sucking power from the grid regardless of overload. This is unacceptable. So who is it
Why is that
unacceptable?
why is that
I don't
unacceptable? So
understand.
they're repurposing old coal and gas plants that are sitting there that they're not being used right now. So they're firing them up. They're
Yeah,
creating their own power.
creating
So
jobs,
they're
Jeff.
generating the power, and they're repurposing them, and they're mining Bitcoin. And so here they say they're jacking up energy bills for residents. I mean, are they? Are they really? Is that really a thing? They're sucking power from the grid, regardless of the overload. Now, if they are, then the residents will come and say, hey, you know what? We don't like this plant because you're overloading our grid. You know, we don't want you here. You got to figure something out. You can't be on our grid. Build your own grid. You know, so at that point, I'm sure people will go to them. You know, is that happening, or is he just saying that that's happening? I would like evidence of that.
Well, this is a good comment. BTC Maxis to Larsen. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. keep our power out of your mouth. That's what it should say.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Efficiently to achieve the objective is to be ridiculed here. What? Okay.
well, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on crypto Twitter. Some little friendly arguments going back and forth. So this is unacceptable.
Oh,
I don't
see what he's saying. Apparently, you people are clueless. Larsen was a founder of Greenpeace.
clueless.
I see where Alchemist is coming from.
The time for change is now.
Matt is saying there's no way you can switch Bitcoin from proof of work. That is literally the only value it has.
Correct.
Remove that, and Bitcoin has nothing. And
right.
I think we'll see some commentary on that. I think that's really good statement.
That's a very strong statement, and that's going to make a lot more sense when we get into the rebuttal here. The time for change is now as prominent capital market participants drive crypto liquidity. ESG and sustainability would only become more front and center. ETH, the second largest market cap for now, like how he inserted for now, recognized this early on and very close to switching to proof of stake. They've been pretty close for 6 years, Jeff. I mean, pretty close. You know, like pretty close.
They're getting there.
It's like, you know,
ETH 2.0. It's right there.
You know, one of those award shows, Jeff, there was a thing where they were shooting the arrow off of the head of the lady, and they were pretty close, but they grazed the top of the head. You see what I mean? Like, it's pretty close, doesn't really work after 6 years. It says we need a short-term solution as well, even if we move away from proof of work, happened eventually. Bitcoin is and will largely remain hugely important for crypto globally. Bitcoiners, I know many of you may not believe this, but I'm not trying to work against you here.
No. So, and so as multiple people, including, you know, Matt brought up, you know, the idea of moving Bitcoin away from proof of work, and there's going to be some other commentary as to why that proof of work is the security of the Bitcoin network. And now here he's saying that he's not trying to work against everybody. I don't see him coming up with a solution. I don't see him coding into it other than just complaining and trying to make it sound like those that are mining are upsetting the balance of power, actual power, like electric power. People that are mining are upsetting the grid, and they're using more than what they should be allotted, and they're causing grief to everybody around them. And that's kind of the statement that he's making.
That's right. Close is only good enough for henchies. It's right. It's like, and sometimes it
hand grenades
has some detrimental effects. And also, as Matt's saying here too, saying, where was it? Oh gosh, yeah, right there.
Or are you looking? No. What's that?
Jeff, yes, they are. Look what happened in Kazakhstan. Literally what happened. They kicked the miners out. See you.
There you go.
You're done.
And that's exactly what happened.
The work is done.
And they said, we're done. We're done with you. But look at it, Ted's life. Then I've complained 3 times about my neighbor mining Bitcoin. It's really loud. I can hear it in the middle of the night. So what your neighbor should do is put soundproofing up and around the room that he has the mines in. And there you go. Problem solved.
My aunt sent me a video. She's in Western New York. She's in Western New York, and she just went out on the porch, and the Bitcoin facilities across there, and it's really loud. so I can get the noise pollution part of it. You got to keep got to keep that equipment
And
in
that's
good
upsetting if you got residential around there, Chip. Yeah, I get it.
Look at this. So Matt Hamilton, all the Bitcoin maxis have nailed their flags to the proof of work mast. There's no way they would support the switch away from proof of work. Exactly. And
I
all
agree
this
with that.
bickering and fighting, I think the way we're headed right now, I think 2042 or 2044. We're basically 20 years away from the last Bitcoin block being mined. I mean, it's like we're almost, and over the last 20 years, we're going to try to make it different, better, this, that. It doesn't matter. The whole
Here
thing
you
is
go.
bizarre to me.
Here's a good comment too from Mr. Wolf. The irony is that Chris Larsen probably holds more Bitcoin than most of the people attacking him.
Jeff, I said,
And that's
you
probably
and
spot on. You said that.
I said he has more. I said I assert he has more Bitcoin than Saylor. I bet he has more Bitcoin than almost everybody. Jeff and I were
I bet he's
laughing
sitting
about
on
that earlier.
a huge nest egg. Oh, I'm sure. Oh,
Today's
been
crypto
around the block.
Yeah, today's crypto is blessed with incredible talent, unlimited capital, and on a mission to make the world better. That's great, but there's no reason to change Bitcoin. What if miners were incentivized to remove carbon from the atmosphere? Incentivized how? The whole reason of proof of work is the fact that there's a reward, right? I mean, the fact that the value is going up, and every 4 years you get that happening.
And what's the climate
this-
problem, Chip?
What if
So I
miners were
truly believe it can
incentivized to?
turn this climate problem into a solution.
Jeff, how do you remove carbon from the atmosphere? I mean, I guess the Bitcoin miners in 2042 will figure this out because somehow they'll be incentivized.
2050.
Miners pledging 100% green energy, a great startup, but in my opinion, not a foolproof long-term solution. Dude, we're talking about 20 years here. It's not a long time.
But
What's to stop a petro state like Russia from liquidating fossil fuel reserves?
this whole thing is, well, you missed some critical statement there. He said, because proof of work simply incentivizes finding the cheapest energy. So I don't understand what he's saying here. It incentivizes finding the cheapest energy, not what is the right thing to do. So
I
you
don't
want
agree
to
with
find the
that.
cheapest area of energy, not necessarily, but what does he mean by the right thing to do? And what about geothermal power? So at some point, yes, mining Bitcoin could be too expensive. So then the mining operations might go to Iceland. If Oscar's on, then, Iceland becomes the beneficiary because of geothermal
go.
power, or they go to El Salvador, or they go to, some volcano near you. I'm not sure. But if they do have to find the cheaper solution, and so, yes, right, that's what incentivizes them. So whatever that might be. And why does it have to be, 100% green? I guess geothermal is pretty green, if we're going to talk about that, right? I like that. I can get on board with that if it's all about the geothermal, but he wants to force people to change away from proof of work.
Well, where I grew up,
Have to
Jeff, in
change
Western
it.
New York, they've got, the Niagara Falls. There's a whole power plant there. It's hydropower. So hydropower is super massively clean. It's like hydropower. There's all kinds of different powers. Look at what about in the Midwest up here in the U.S., where they were using the gas burn off from the oil wells. That was basically energy that was unused, and then they turned it into power for Bitcoin mining.
Mhm.
So, he says even with responsible players, Jeff, not those irresponsible players.
Again, responsible players. So, man, the problem with this whole narrative that he's putting out there is that he's putting his ideological spin and twist, and he's weaving it into this entire narrative, and he's not staying true to crypto. He's weaving in something else, and so it's not, so his attack and shot across the bow of Bitcoin has another agenda. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with what's best for Bitcoin or those that hold it, even though he's a huge holder of it. I wonder what percentage at that point is, and how significant is it? Does it have any meaning at this point? He's invested about $90 million into, green energy solutions,
No.
I think.
Now, do you think, just out of curiosity, Jeff, do you think that Ripple needed a new reason for it to be even more hated by Bitcoin maxis when you got one of the upper management of Ripple, the chairman? Isn't he the chairman? What is he over there? I don't know what his official title
Find out
is.
what
He's
his title is.
executive chairman. The chairman is now going after Bitcoin. I mean, it's crazy. If you've read this far, thanks. I've spent 1.5 years thinking about possible solutions, invested nearly $90 million in the climate change fighting efforts. And I can guarantee you
thinking
that
back
for that $90
climate
million,
change,
let's talk
he
about
got
the real
nothing.
thing. You
I
got
bet he got
nothing. Not only did you get nothing, but
Zero.
what did you do? You could have invested $90 million into crypto businesses that would have taken off, something along the lines of that. $90 million in the climate change friendly fighting efforts. Let's
What
see
does
the
that even
results from
mean?
that. I don't know.
What does that mean? Is he, flying
By the
around
way,
in
I'm
his
fighting
private
it.
plane?
I'm fighting it right now. So I'll take $1 million. So there it is.
But at least, and XRP Panic said, good for him. At least he's putting his money where his mouth is. A lot of these people run around and spew all sorts of nonsense, and yet they won't put a dime into it. He's invested 90 million of his hard-earned dollars into it.
But I have to give Chris Larsen props on this last panel here, because he says, lastly, I want to emphasize that these efforts are mine alone. While I still am the chairman of Ripple, the company is not involved in this campaign. On that note, apologies to the Ripple communication team, the Ripple comms team. And so he knows the kind of damage that's probably going to be, the incoming that's going to happen as a result of his tirade.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.